Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is Amber Phillips, and I'm so excited you all are able to join us for NYHAAD. Again, this will be a brief overview of all the things that we need just to get started in the right direction. We're recording the call for those folks who aren't able to join us, but we're going to hop right in. So for the call today, our agenda is we're going to give you a brief introduction to NYHAAD. What is it? How is it run in the past? And then the piece that we need the most support on for folks who decide to take this path is really getting you all acquainted with the proclamation process. Again, we'll explain what that is later. And then I'm going to go over some upcoming dates as well as next steps that we'll have to review as a collective so that we're ready when they come up. One of them is popping up as soon as next week, as well as a couple of reminders to make sure that we have all your information to really highlight and support your work that you're going to be doing for NYHAAD. So we're going to hop right in. Again, as I said earlier, my name is Amber J. Phillips, and I'll be the one you'll be working with. I'm the Senior Manager of Youth Leadership and Mobilization here at Advocates for Youth. In my role, that includes overseeing the National Youth and HIV Awareness Day, working with our Young Women of Color for Reproductive Justice Collective, as well as the Leadership Council. And I also work with the Great American Condom Campaign. So if any of you are a part of that, you've also received emails from me. So this is very exciting. I love NYHAAD. I've learned a lot about it. And as someone who is new to the side of HIV and AIDS awareness work, it's a learning process for me that I'm glad that we get to go through together, which is why we'll also be bringing in tons of experts and people who have been doing this work for a long time to make sure that you all have all the resources that you need in order to make sure that your NYHAAD or your campus is popping. So what is NYHAAD? NYHAAD is, as you are aware of because you applied, is a day to educate the public about the impact of HIV and AIDS on young people, as well as highlight the amazing work young people are doing across the country to fight the HIV and AIDS epidemic. Again, it lands on April 10th every year. This year, that is a Monday. Most folks, even though it lands on Monday, you can do a week's worth of events. You can focus on that day, whatever is best for you. Here at Advocates for Youth, we tend to do a week's worth of events, and I'll be letting you in on more of those as those pieces come together. So NYHAAD is great. It was started here as one of the things that we founded here at Advocates for Youth. And as we know, if we're looking at our administration, this country is not that nice to people who are currently living with HIV and AIDS, and they certainly do very little to protect people from HIV and AIDS. So we're here to make sure that that is not the case, as well as getting people to understand that young people are definitely a part of this conversation as well. And I hope you all do that too. So anything you want to add to that?
No, you good.
Okay. So now I'm going to turn it over to my amazing colleague in justice and organizing, the Sophia Kirby, lovely pictured here. She's the Manager of State Policy and Partnerships here at Advocates for Youth. And you can tell them a little bit about yourself before you go in.
Hey everyone, this is Sophia. For those who I have not met yet, it is welcome to meet you virtually. Like Amber said, I am on our policy team and our youth organizing team. And for me, that means that I have the pleasure of working with youth activists like y'all across the country, primarily on sex education advocacy as well as LGBTQ health and rights. So that includes trying to get better policy on college campuses, across school districts, and across states. And my particular focus is on the Deep South, but I'm happy to help you out with any policy that you need support in. So for the rest of the webinar today, I'll be talking a little bit more about NYHAAD proclamations, what they are, and why it's awesome that y'all should be getting them. So proclamation is essentially a very fancy term for a ceremonial document that can be given out at the county level, at the city level, on your college campuses, and even across the state. It's really an opportunity for your community to make a public stance and uplift an issue area, a policy area that matters to you. So for many people, getting a proclamation is often a first step in their activism work. It's a great stepping stone to introduce a topic. If you are in a community where there is not a lot of attention being given to HIV and AIDS, there's not a lot of attention being uplifted around young people's sexual health, getting a proclamation is a great start. And not only that, it often serves as a stepping stone to other policy areas that you can dive into. So, for example, one place that we're working in right now is in West Palm Beach, Florida. And last year, they were really trying to get more work around sex education policy at their school district level. And we were getting a lot of pushback. Folks were interested in it, but were not prepared to really talk about it in a deep way. And we decided to use getting a proclamation as a stepping stone to getting that policy passed. So a really dope NYHAAD ambassador from last year got a NYHAAD proclamation passed in their county level last year, and now this year we're working on actually getting a sex ed policy passed. And the way the proclamation really supported that work is that it made a public stance saying that this county supports this issue area. So we constantly had something to go back to say, hey, remember when you said you cared about youth sexual health? Well, if you really do, then you should work on getting sex ed. Or if you really do, you should work on getting free HIV/STI testing in your county. So essentially it's a ceremonial document, but has a lot of great organizing power.
I'm going to pause you there. Are there any questions around the proclamation process / has anyone on this call gone through the proclamation process? Okay. So we'll keep going. Again, if you have any questions throughout the call, feel free to pop them in the chat, and I will relay them to Sophia, and we will discuss them. So let's get into it.
Great. So if you're interested in getting a proclamation passed in your community, there are a couple of different ways you can go about it. You can get one passed at the state level, also at the city or county, and then on your college campus or in your school. I'd say that the state is probably the biggest barrier and the longest time because there are more processes and procedures to go through, and getting it passed in your school or maybe at a college campus is probably a little bit easier. It really depends on where you see yourself in your activism. If you feel like you are a strong student leader, you're involved in a lot of clubs, you have a really big network on your college campus or in your school system, maybe that's where you want to get a proclamation. If you feel like a lot of your activism actually happens outside the classroom, you're really involved at the community level, you have a lot of relationships, and you have experience doing that, then maybe a city or county level proclamation is best for you. Either way, the steps to getting it are pretty similar, and if you have any questions, I'm always here to help you all along the way. So the first step is to check out the local website at whatever level you're doing it at. So if you're doing a city or county level, every system has a slightly different process. You're going to want to look it up to make sure that you have all the information you need. If you are on a college campus in your school system, it's likely that a proclamation is passed through your student government. So you want to check them out, hit them up at their office hours, and make sure you have the exact procedure down. In terms of a timeline, it usually is anywhere between 2 weeks to several months. So some city councils have weekly meetings, some have monthly meetings, and it might take some time to get on the agenda. So you just want to double check to see what the timeline and the process is. After you've done that, that's really when you want to get into more of the research part of things. You want to look up if there's any requirements that you need, if there's any certain documentation, see what has passed previously, what kind of support they had, and really plan for it. The biggest barrier, I would say, to getting a proclamation is the time bound of it. Some people, it might take more time to get on the agenda, and that's the issue that you're going to come across. And you just want to make sure you have all the information out ahead of time. So plan ahead as much as you can. The next step is to really gather all the information that you need. Like I said before, it's great to make sure you have the documentation. Most city level or county level will ask that you just have some backing as to why you do it, right? So what's the HIV/STI rate in that county? How many young people are in support of it, et cetera? Some other things is it might require that you be a resident of that city or of that county. So you just want to double check you have all the paperwork, all the supporting documents in hand. And then your next two steps, I'd say, is probably the most fun, the most enjoyable. That's when you really want to reach out to your community, make sure you have additional information to back up why it's important to get a proclamation. So, for example, you can reach out to other student groups who might want to do this with you. You can look up what the STI HIV rates are among young people in your county. Have they increased over the past couple of years? Anything to really show why it's important that your community take a public stance on NYHAAD and their public stance in support of destigmatizing and supporting young people who are impacted by HIV and AIDS. And then lastly is you want to get social. You want to really make sure that you are putting it out there online, tapping into your networks, whatever that means for you, if it's Instagram, Facebook, social media, all of that stuff, and make sure that you're constantly putting pressure on the agency or systems, whether that's your city council or your school district or what have you, to make sure this proclamation passes. So some information that's not in the step-by-step guide, but that's also really important, is Online Advocates has a state advocacy toolkit that we can send out to you afterwards. It is a bit focused on the state level and city county level, but all of the information can be modified to a school district or a college campus, so don't worry about that. And there's sample language in there. There's actually more specific steps if you want to look out for it, kind of go through a little bit more in depth for the level that you want to advocate on. But essentially, those are the 5 main steps to getting a NYHAAD proclamation in your community. It's pretty easy. It's a little bit of a low bar, and the biggest barrier that y'all might face is time management. So I would definitely plan ahead, start your process now, and remember that if you're interested, you can always reach out to advocates to get more support. I know that we went through that a little bit quick, so I want to take some time. Do y'all have any questions about the process? Is there anyone who's on the call now who can say, you know what, this sounds really exciting. I definitely want to sign up to work on NYHAAD proclamations, and then I'll make sure I touch base with you one-on-one afterwards.
Are there any folks looking at your school? Because one of the great things about the proclamation is, like, normally the city gives you a really cool plaque. You're able to be recognized on that part. Is there anyone currently on the call who is interested in doing the proclamation work? Again, even if you're on the fence right now, you can let us know why you're on the fence. But I'll be sending out a form basically asking who would like to take on trying to accomplish getting a proclamation at their school or at their state level.
Yeah, hey, this is Sam Archibald. I think doing one at my school would be a great tool. So, I mean, I got a lot of connections with our student government and various professionals that I know would back it very, very highly here. So I feel like it's something I can definitely get some traction with, doing a proclamation at my school. So definitely get in touch with y'all later and about some more in-depth details about it would be great.
Awesome. Sam, can you share what campus you're on?
So I go to Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville, Georgia. I don't know if y'all know Jenny Pless. She was one of your ambassadors last year. She was in the same university.
I worked with Jenny last year. Yeah, she's dope.
Yeah. So I heard about this through her, part of the same HIV awareness group that we have on our campus, just kind of going about. And I also do a lot of work in the community at local schools, doing just general health education. So definitely something I could get get some good traction with at my university.
That's awesome. And that's exactly the way you go about it, is thinking about what your strengths are, and if you believe you can use your contacts to get the proclamation passed, that's exactly the way that should go. Tyler has their hand up. Mariah and I are very interested. What advice would you like to ask this question yourself, or should I read this out?
Yeah, I'll ask it. I am student government secretary for Tidewater Community College, and Mariah.
Can you speak closer to your phone?
Repeat that for me.
Can you speak closer to your phone? We can't hear you that well.
Oh, I am student government secretary at my college, and Mariah is also president of student government as well. So we already have student government support. So we were just asking because we're very interested in trying to get this proclamation for our for our city. What advice would you give going into this process of trying to do that?
Awesome. So you're saying that y'all are already involved in your student government. You feel really confident in getting that passed, but you're also interested in getting it down to city level. And what advice do we have on that? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, dope. Well, I think that what y'all are really great in position for is that you already seem to have the support or feel like you can get it easily passed at your college campus. So I would work on doing that first. And then as you're building up that momentum and that support, and maybe even before it's passed, but it's about to get passed, you can use that information to then go and advocate as to why it should also be happening at the city and local level. You can say, hey, we're part of this community, we're in this college campus that's in our state, in our county, and look at all those young people who are standing out in support of NYHAAD. This is why y'all should also take that step with us. I would double check that process at the city and county level. So go on the agency website, because their process is probably sooner than than it is for your college campus. Since you're part of the student government, you can probably introduce one whenever you get on the agenda, right? Whereas at the city level, you might have to apply by a certain date in the year. So just make sure that you don't miss that deadline as you're also working on your college campus proclamation. And if you have any questions along the way, me and Amber are here to support you.
Thank you. We were just wondering about the process because in April 10th to the 14th, we're doing a Sex Health Week, and one of the things we are doing is trying to get free HIV and AIDS testing on our campus. So I feel like after the success of that event during that week, we can show our college and then hopefully our community how much is needed for us to have a proclamation day.
Yeah, I think that's a great plan and a great strategy. It's clear that you have an organizing mind right there, right? Because you're thinking about how different actions can support each other. So yeah, I think that if you're interested in getting the college level proclamation and also getting free testing in your community, getting a city proclamation will fit really nicely into that, and will just be another opportunity for you to tap into your community on the issue area.
Yes.
Awesome.
Any more questions like that? Oh, sorry.
We were just saying thank you.
Great.
Oh, of course.
And remind me of your campus again. You're in Virginia, right?
Tidewater Community College, Virginia Beach campus.
Okay. Any more questions around, well, I'll open it up for questions again after we go through this part as well. Any more questions so far around the proclamations or worries?
Well, one thing that I can share is I'll just give y'all my email now, just so you have it, and then we'll also include it in the follow-up, but it is Sophia, SOPHIA, @advocatesforyouth.org. So I'll do my best to reach out to each of you this week, but if you have any other questions before then, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Any more questions? So the next part of this we're going into, I wanted to get a quick read from you all, and again, we'll have to put this out to the bigger group. So far we have a couple of things coming up for NYHAAD Day. One of them is we just landed on a theme, which will determine the direction of our swag and like some T-shirts. So the theme this year we're hoping for is young, free, and positive. We can end HIV. What's your initial reads or thoughts on that? Are there any flags? Do you all like it? Do you not like it? If so, why?
I like it. I think it's cute and very positive.
Great. Anyone else have any thoughts? We're a little worried about the pop. Sorry, go ahead.
I really like the young, free, and positive. We can end HIV only because I feel like as youth sometimes we are discouraged just because of our age or whatever that we cannot make changes in our community. So with this being our theme, young, free, and positive, we can end HIV, it will send like a positive affirmation to our youth saying that we can make a change if we all come together and support a cause like this.
I'll share. I
That's
agree.
a great song.
Young, wild, and free.
Yeah.
Mariah has a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says young, free, and positive. Do you think that, because we have, there are a couple of people on our campus that have wanted to be a part of this with me, and they disclosed their status to me if they wore the shirt. That's what I'm a little bit worried about, that it says young, free, and positive. We should. Do you think that there's a connotation in it that the people that wear the shirt are saying that they're positive with it?
I think that is a connotation, and that's also why it feels like no matter what your status is, you should be wearing the shirt in solidarity with that. However, Mariah, it would be hella helpful for me if you ask them their thoughts on it.
Okay, yeah. I can ask them and then get to you by the end of the week.
That would be perfect, just because that was one of the things, but I think the positive is like a double play on it. I think, one, we don't give people enough opportunity to be open about their status if they choose to be open around it, and the only way we can do that is if we create a community of people who understand. So that, to me, is the culture shift part of this. Another piece is making sure that the piece around we can end HIV, so that it's kind of a play on words, that regardless if you're positive or negative, we all have a role in ending HIV for this community. So I would love it, like, as soon as you can just, like, get like a read from them and see if they would feel comfortable wearing the shirt. If, like, also folks like you are wearing the shirt, or people who are not claiming that they're not, or their negative status, but yeah.
Okay, I'll talk to them. I'll show them a particular screenshot of the PowerPoint. I'm going to send it to them and then see what they think.
Okay. I can also send you, I can see about sending you a mock-up of what the shirt would look like. All right. Any other thoughts on that? That was one of the big ones that stood out to you. Okay. So one of the other pieces I'll send out directly after this call, either by tomorrow morning, is a form for you all to tell us about your events. Mariah and Tyler, I know you already someone's on. Okay. I know that, yes, God's will. Can you hear? Ooh. Uh-oh. What just happened? Okay. Sorry. When they say what's going on, we'll be able to do that. So another piece is I will send you all a Google form that will basically allow you to detail what events you plan on holding for NYHAAD, so that we're aware and I can see about providing you any additional resources outside of the swag and those different pieces, and promoting the events that you are doing on the ground. So you can look for that. Again, that will come with a Google form letting us know if you want to do the proclamation, detailing your events, as well as any needs, and an estimate of how many people you believe will be coming out to your event. Additionally, we'll follow up by sending you all the toolkit for NYHAAD that just gives you more information. We're working on the website, and we took it down to bring it back up today. So you'll also have that information as well to be able to point people to your work. One of the big assets that we have with NYHAAD, and why I think it's such an amazing day, is the Youth Bill of Rights, which center around talking about HIV and AIDS as a social justice issue that we all have a part in helping to end. So that will also be coming to you all as a resource. You can print those Bill of Rights out. You can share them with folks. Also in the toolkit, there's guidance on how to talk about this on social media, which is how I will also be working with you all on it. Any questions around that? Anybody want to share what events they're thinking about planning or have going on so far? Okay, God's will got it. Great. Glad you're here. Oh, 2 hands are raised. So Samuel?
Yeah, so later tonight at my school we're doing a sexual health forum. We have someone coming in from another university just to kind of lead a discussion, and we've got a good bit of people interested in it. Should hopefully have a decent turnout of students at our university coming out too. So that's going to be an exciting thing. And then a few weeks on March 16th, but we have these events called our Downtown Initiatives where we go downtown Thursday nights. So we have a pretty big bar scene at our university, and so we just go down there to promote sexual health awareness. So we'll go down there because our school, we get grants and funding from our school. So we're able to buy several thousand condoms, and we're able to just go down there and just give out condoms and try to engage people in just discussing safe sexual practices. So those are the some things that we're doing pretty soon. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head right now. We have a few things in the works, but those are the 2 events that we have finalized. And also, hopefully, some work in conjunction with AIDS Atlanta, just getting some more students trained about HIV because we're somewhat near vicinity to Atlanta.
That's lit. I love it. Tyler, or God's will, did you want to add something? Oh, okay. Got it for now. Tyler, did you want to add something as well?
It's Mariah. We're both on his computer.
Okay, that's cool.
I've been we have actually slated for that Tuesday and that Thursday free HIV testing. They're going to come out. The Virginia Beach Health Department is coming out. I'm having a hard time figuring out what other sessions I would want. I'm definitely going to do a session on heart health and then another session on sexual liberation. But other than that, definitely a information forum or a caucus based on HIV and AIDS, what people know, what they need to know, and then educating people on PrEP. But other than that, I'm kind of lost when it comes to what I should do next, what I should add to
that. All sounds great to me. Mm-hmm. Did you work with the Department of Health to get them on your campus for testing?
We emailed them, and they were excited to come out because it's something that they've been to stress. They're trying to get people to come in. They have free STD testing in general, and not a lot of people are going, and not a lot of people know their status. So they were looking for campuses, and we just so happened to email them before they sent out something saying, hey, can we come to your campus? And we was like, oh, we just emailed you. And then we also got picked for Project Condom, so we're having a condom fashion show that week.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's a perfect thing to note for folks who are listening to this call is reaching out to your health department or anyone in your city or state who does free testing to ask them to come to your campus is the way to go. Like, they're more than happy to do it. They want people to get tested. So I really encourage all of you, if you haven't thought about that as a big portion of your event process for April 10th or the week of April 10th, that is something that we all at least try to, not at least, but it's something that we all lean towards getting done because it's just a great resource. We want people to know their status. So that's great. I think the piece around sexual liberation is also really, really awesome, Mariah. It's also something that you're really good at talking about. So if you wanted to have an event where that was the central focus of it, if you wanted to just hold a conversation or a tabling event, that would be awesome. I think this is also a good time to look at, since, we're talking a lot about women's rights organizing and people went to the march, this would be a good opportunity to reach out to those different groups on your campus to help get this event on and popping. If you're doing this as an individual, reaching out to your feminist clubs or your BSU or your student groups, activist student groups, to explain to them why HIV/AIDS is a social justice issue would be a great collaboration point if you need like a student group in order to get an event approved on your campus. So I think that's great. I think you can take either one of those approaches. Having the testing on your campus is great, and what would it look like for them to go through testing and then be able to go to an event that talks about sexual liberation is great. We can also, I'm happy to follow up with you to talk a little bit more in case you wanted to hash out more ideas. Anyone else? I think that's everyone added. This is great. Okay, so I'll be going around to send you all that information. The next piece is please save the dates for March 7th at 1 p.m. We'll be having a conversation with Max Boykin, who is located in Chicago, is also a part of BYP 100, to have a conversation with us. Not only are we going to talk about HIV stigma, we're going to talk about how that leads to criminalization of people who of the disease and people who have the disease. So it's going to be a really great conversation. Max is a good friend of mine who does a lot of amazing work at the intersection of HIV and AIDS as well as racial justice. So I think it will be a good conversation, and I'm looking to actually have that one broadcast out on Facebook. So if this is something that you all are interested in or your student groups are interested in, anyone can be a part of this call, and you might want them to be a part of this call, like have a little listening session or a lunch break to get this information out to people. Mariah, for folks like you who are planning events, it will be a great call to sit in on and be a part of, to think about how you can carry this over through your events for the week of April 10th. Any other questions? This is great. I'm not going to hold you all any longer than you need to be held. But again, my name is Amber Phillips. My email is amberp@advocatesforyouth.org. We also have Sophia Kirby. Can you tell us where they can reach out to you?
Yes, Sophia, SOPHIA, @advocatesforyouth.org.
And if you all need anything, again, folks who are doing proclamations, I'll be directly connecting you to Sophia. And anyone who wants to do proclamations, I'll be connecting you to Sophia as well to help you walk through that process. I think we have one question for God's will. You can go ahead and ask it. Oh, no, we can't hear you. All right, well, I'll follow up with you offline. I don't think we can hear you right now. But, again, please reach out to us, Amber P. @Advocates for Youth, Sophia @advocatesforyouth.org, and we'll be happy to help you again. Look for your follow-up emails this evening or tomorrow. Well, let's just say tomorrow. Over-promise, under-deliver? Under-deliver?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Okay, thank you all so much for coming on. Hit me up if you need anything at all. Thank you. Yes, feel free to type your question. I'll stay on and answer it. But that concludes our call, y'all. Please let me know if you need anything else.
Have a good one, everyone.
Have a happy Tuesday.
Thank you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. That was a harsh reality this evening.
Right.
Can you